We want to see HS2 being used as a vehicle for apprenticeships and for skills. We want to see those big tier one contractors working with their contractors and driving, as Crossrail has done, driving targets for apprenticeships, setting up training academies, working with governments, working with every nation, every region of the country to make sure that we have people aspiring to work on high-speed rail. This is not a flash in the pan. This is a railway that's going to take out on current timetables till 2032 to build, or on, best estimate. So that's the next 17 years. That's a generation of young people that will aspire to go in. We've also got to make rail attractive. Now, some of that is about finance. I mean, I went round to National Express, was talking to their engineering apprentices there, and National Express said, of course, we've got a massive competition for the best apprentices because they all want to go off to Jaguar Land Rover. They all want to, there's like a hierarchy of where people want to go. So we've got to make high-speed rail up there with Jaguar Land Rover. It's got to be something that's seen as a sound and secure future. There's very, very strong competition for the best graduates and people taking them out and then really taking them on. So we need to be very alive to that and make sure that there is enough brain collectively to go around, and then it isn't just something that we import in. I think we need to hear much more loudly the voices of the nations and the regions talking about what their transport needs are. And I think you're right about connectivity. In a way, I think the big debate that we've had about HS2 over the last year in the Labour Party and outside has focused the light on the need for connectivity and the need to maximise, in terms of maximising the benefits of HS2, we need to make sure that when the people get off the trains in whichever city they land, they are able to then get to an onward journey and they're not just stuck in a bottleneck waiting for 20 minutes. All of the small towns in Dover, whether it's Dover, where I've been out and visited, the transformation of those areas where people are moving because they want to live by the seaside, but they also want to have access to work in London. But people are moving to those places, which were places that suffered a huge amount of poverty and deprivation, and people are now choosing to live in them, which has got to be good for those centres. Having a grown-up conversation with communities about where things are located. What HS2 will do is take the long-distance travellers off the West Coast and the East Coast main line, and that then frees up space on the traditional railway for more commuter services and more freight services as well. We mustn't lose sight of the fact that freight is growing. We want freight to get freight off the road and onto rail. Why can't you just polish the existing rail lines? And it's like, yeah, because there's hundreds and hundreds of bridges, you have to close it, there's 14 years of closures and disruption. And it is much, much more challenging. It's like everyone says, oh, they built the M1 a mile a day. I'm like, yeah, because we're building on green fields. They weren't working on a live motorway, keeping men and women safe on the hard shoulder. If we can get people commuting in from Birmingham or people commuting from points north into Birmingham, what you do is keep a skilled graduate workforce in those cities. At the moment, our entire national economy and all the headquarters are dominated by London. So if we want to rebalance the economy away from London to places where housing is cheaper, quality of life arguably is better, but still proud cities with a great cultural life and great traditions of high standards in education, you do that by giving people fast transport links to where they work and making sure that there are schools there that their kids can go to. So I see this as a way of spreading the wealth of London much further up the country, and spreading the wealth of Birmingham much further up the country, and spreading the wealth of Manchester and Leeds further out. As we all travel more and see what other countries are doing, there's a growing appetite for faster travel, but also making sure our own cities are connected up with each other. We must make sure that There are supplier engagement days, so people feel that they know how to bid in, how their product and how their service can fit into that. Crossrail has done that very successfully and had a kind of suppliers showcase where people came from all over the country to talk about the steel that had been forged in Sheffield, and all of the different elements of that railway that have come from every nation and region of the country. Local enterprise partnerships linking into it and combined authorities working with suppliers are very well placed to say, you know, here's a list of the things we're going to need on this line. Here is a list of the contractors we're working for. What we must ensure is that we have quality work, quality apprenticeships, but also quality products coming out. And Crossrail has been very successful in doing that with its supply chain.